Here's the scenario. You're getting toward the end of the month. Your grocery budget is running a little bit lean. You need to feed your family for at least a week, and you have $40. Believe it or not, all these items which were in my pantry and in my refrigerator will feed my family for an entire week. And the cost? Pretty doggone close to $40. There is nothing worse than opening the refrigerator and it's full of two things, air and just a little bit of disappointment. Look, when you open your refrigerator and feel like there is nothing in there you can create meals with, your first inkling is to run to the grocery store and spend money. But what if you don't have that money to spend in order to stay within your budget? I'll show you what I do every single week. Once a week on Thursdays, I do what I call my Perishable Food Inventory. And this one hack has saved us hundreds of dollars every single year on our grocery budget. How does it work? I open the refrigerator, take everything out that is perishable. Then I make a list. And the list is what, guys? It is prioritized. What that means is that the items with the shortest shelf life go all the way at the top of that list. And items that can stick around for a little while, like this, could easily be sitting here for another week, and this cabbage is still going to be perfectly fine to eat. Those items go toward the bottom of the list. Now, I just did this. There are 6 items that are fresh food on this table, and I'm going to pair them with 6 items that came from my pantry. Now, this is a really good reason to point out that you need to have a fully stocked pantry, and you need to know exactly what is in that pantry. Now, ideally, you're going to buy all of this food, and you're not going to pay full retail price. You're going to wait for it to go on sale, and then you're going to stock up. But let's just say, once again, that's not the case. You got $40. Where are you going to go? You're going to go to Walmart. I priced all of these items at Walmart, and I will show you toward the end of the video what every single item cost, and we'll see how close we can get to that $40. We're going to start with this 5-pound bag of flour. Now, I opened it already. There's a couple of cups out of here. 5-pound bag of flour is going to have maybe 12 to 14 cups of flour in it. This is one of the things that if you're going to stock up and you're low on grocery money, grab a 5-pound bag of flour. Here's why. This flour can be used for so many different things. For instance, 4 cups of this flour, along with 2 or 3 other common ingredients that you're going to have on the shelf at your house. And you're going to make tortillas, homemade tortillas. They cost 5 cents or less per tortilla. 4 cups of flour is going to make you around 14 to 16 tortillas. That means if you have a family of 3 or 4, those tortillas could last you for up to 4 different meals. You're going to take one of those tortillas. You're going to cook up this butternut squash. Here's the next item. Oh, this is so heavy, guys. This is a huge, big as my head, butternut squash. This squash came from the farmer's market. Now, I have had countless people tell me the farmer's markets are really expensive. And you're right, some of them overall are more expensive than your grocery store. But this is a great example. It is winter squash season, which means that farmers have a whole lot of these. And they're going to sell them at a discount at the farmer's market. $3. That's what this was. Now, when I show you the list of ingredients, as I promised, I priced it at Walmart full price. But just bear in mind that I didn't pay what I would have paid at Walmart. I paid about 50% less for this squash. The easiest way to cook squash, you're going to cut the neck off, then you're going to take the seeds out. You're going to put this in your Instant Pot. Put a cup of water in the bottom of your Instant Pot. You're going to put this squash on the rack in your Instant Pot. You're going to pressure cook it for about 8 to 10 minutes. You don't have to let it naturally release. Just release the pressure when it's all done. It's going to be perfectly cooked. You're going to take part of this squash and you're going to puree it. Really, I just mash it with a fork. It's very mashable by that point. And I'm going to take the tortillas that I made out of 4 cups of this flour. I'm going to take 4 of those tortillas and I am going to create plant-based quesadillas. So instead of cheese, we're going to use this for the basis. That's going to hold our quesadilla together. We're going to put some of this into the homemade tortilla. We're going to take one of these onions. Now this onion, once again, My brother grew this onion. I'm going to take part of this onion, about half of it, and I'm going to caramelize it. Then, once I make a base of the mashed squash, I'm going to put in some caramelized onion, and I might even mash up some beans. That's what's in here. I'm going to show you a little bit at a time. I put that like that so you can see it. That's 1 pound of dried black beans. Now, I buy my black beans and I buy my lentils in 25-pound bags because it is less expensive per pound to buy the beans that way. Now, if you have a smaller family, find some other families that would love to get a lower price point on their dried beans and split those 25-pound packages up between 4 or 5 families. Then everybody's going to get the lower price point and everybody's going to be able to use the dried beans. Dried beans are one of the most amazing shelf-stable things you need to have on hand at all times. Because this is 1 pound of black beans is about 2 1/4, 2 1/2-ish cups, somewhere in there. But when you cook it, it's going to be 6 cups of cooked beans. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Instant Pot. Once again, I'm going to cook up this whole pound of black beans, and I'm going to take all the black beans out except for 3 cups. I'm going to leave 3 cups in the pressure cooker. Then I'm going to use that along with some of these other ingredients. Like this is 2 pounds of carrots. I've got them all prepped here. And some celery. And a little bit of the onion and some spices. This can of diced tomatoes, this is a it's not a 32-ounce can, it's a 28-ounce can. You're going to pay somewhere around $2.50 for this normally. This was from Ollie's. I won't show the price tag because it's really hard to see, but I'm telling you, it says Ollie's, our price, 99 cents. Not only that, we had a coupon that we got 15% off of our entire order. When you have a scenario like this is what we call our stock up price. So we know when prices reach the bottom point where we're like, oh, that is a fantastic deal, and that's when we stock up. Now, one of the ways that we stock up without blowing our grocery budget up is what we call the 1/5 method. So every month, we take our entire grocery budget, we divide it into fifths. 1/5, or 20%, is set aside as stock up money. And that's when we find something like this and we're like, we take that out of that stock up fund. If there's money left in the stock up fund 1 month, we can just roll it over to the next month. But that's how you can do that without feeling like I can't buy 10 cans of the tomatoes, even though they're a fantastic deal, because it's going to make my grocery budget go way over what it should be. And that's a way to stock up without allowing that to happen. The menu plan I create with everything in front of me, I'm going to show it to you at the end of the video. I mentioned lentils. We pay a little over $1 a pound. We used to be able to get them for under $1 a pound. And for like 25 pounds, it was 85 cents a pound. No longer. And prices have gone up, but that's something that we all struggle with, right? So the fact that prices have gone up doesn't mean that your grocery budget has to exponentially go up to meet those rising prices. You need to think a little bit differently about the ingredients that you have in your home. This is 2 pounds of lentils. So this is 5 cups of lentils. Now I'm going to cook the entire 5 cups of lentils up. It's going to yield about 12 to 14 cooked cups because it absorbs water, right? And it gets larger. I'm going to take 6 of those cups and I am going to make some lentil burgers. It's going to have some flour in it. There's our flour once again. Now, just think of all the different ways you can use this flour, because I'm going to use it not only for those tortillas that I talked about. We're going to use a little bit of it in the lentil burgers. We're also going to make some biscuits with it. We are also going to make some homemade pancake mix with it and make some pancakes with it. So don't think of flour just in terms of something that, I don't know, that you're going to make a cake with or something. There's a lot of different things you can do with a lot of these ingredients. So far we have used 6 cups of the 12 cups of cooked lentils, and we have made lentil burgers. So you've got 6 cups of lentils. What I generally do is take it and I split the difference. So 3 cups of those cooked lentils for lentil tacos. Then the other 3 cups, I am going to put barbecue sauce on, and it's going to be a barbecue lentil filling. I could put it in the tortillas, or I could put it on potatoes. Now, potatoes have a lot of fiber, and I understand that it's also got carbs in it too, but this is one of the least expensive foods that you can buy. They're gonna fill hungry tummies for a really, really long time. All right, back to the rice. I already told you we're going to make some beans and rice, because beans and rice. But what else can you do with this rice? You can make a rice salad. I would put some of these veggies with it and make kind of a vinaigrette to go over the top and make some rice salad. One of the things I'm going to do with this, now remember, we're thinking outside the box. This is a cabbage. I'm going to say it's 2.5 pounds. I'm going to take these outer leaves off and keep them intact, keep them whole. So I'm going to peel off about 8 or 10 of those big outer leaves, and I'm going to stuff them with a little bit of the lentils, and I'm going to add some rice to those lentils, and then I'm going to put some of these tomatoes. I will probably pulverize them a little bit so they're a little bit more, mushed. And there goes the rice on the floor. That's okay. It is a closed package. It's fine. So I'm going to put some of this tomato sauce on top. I'm going to mash it to create a tomato sauce and put that on top to make the cabbage rolls. Using the canned vegetables. And once again, this is something that people might heat up a can of this and just serve it as a side dish. I'm going to take some of the onion and a little bit of the corn probably, and a little bit of the green beans, maybe not even full cans. And I am going to make a roux, put it in there, and I'm going to make some creamed vegetables to either go on top of rice or on top of some of these potatoes to create, once again, a second meal that is hot stuffed baked potatoes that has a different topping on it instead of the lentils or black beans and anything else on the table that we could conceivably put on top. You're looking for different flavor profiles so your family doesn't feel like they're eating the same thing every single night. Here is a really important ingredient that I think is often overlooked. Celery. Celery has so much flavor in it. It's got a lot of texture. If you do it raw, you can put it in salads to give a little bit of a crunch, because we all want kind of that different textures in anything that we're eating. You can cook it in soups, and it goes a really, really long way. And yes, you can chop up the leaves, the center part of this. I see people throw this out, and I'm like, no! This part in here, the leaves, you can chop those up and put them in soup, or put them in casseroles, or put them in stir fries. So make sure that you're using all the parts of the plant that you can possibly use. In fact, the bottom part of this, wash it up real well, stick it in your freezer. I have a bag in there of vegetable scraps, and it's just labeled broth vegetables. And once that bag is full, it's a gallon bag. Once it's full, I stick it into the pressure cooker, cover it with water, add a few spices, and maybe some herbs if I've got them, and cook it for 14 minutes on high, on pressure, and then release the pressure, and you have homemade vegetable broth that you've made out of the bits and pieces of vegetables that normally would have gone into the garbage can. A couple of things on the table that I haven't mentioned yet. The pasta. Once again, this is something that I only buy when it's on sale. I know my stock up price. I know it's under $1 a pound. Once it gets to under $1 a pound, then I'm going to find it. I'm going to stock up on it. I'm going to buy 5 or 6 of the pastas. Now, this is elbow macaroni, but you can use spaghetti or whatever you want. I am a huge elbow macaroni fan. One of the things you can do with the elbow macaroni is this butternut squash. Now, you're smashing up some of this squash and you're going to use it for your quesadillas, but you can also puree it in the food processor. You add some seasoning, some herbs, and you're going to add a little bit of plant-based milk to thin it out, and it makes a beautiful squash sauce that you can put over, guess what? You can put it over rice. You can put it over, there's elbow macaroni. It looks just like mac and cheese, but it's not mac and cheese. It's squash and cheese, and it's really, really, really good. Other things you can do with this, you're going to cut it in cubes. I could put some of these cubes in with the black bean chili that I'm making. I could put some of the cubes in with, if I have some of this left over, I could make a pasta sauce, and I could put some of these cubes in it to make it a little more hearty. Once again, I hope you're seeing, you look at every ingredient and you start planning. What am I going to do with this ingredient? How am I going to stretch it to make it feed the most number of people for the least number of dollars? I think we have been successfully through everything that is on the table. I'm going to show you what this exact scenario would cost today at my Walmart. Remember, the goal was $40 or less. And then stick with me because I'm going to show you that menu plan. But first, before I do that, I have to tell you, if you're intrigued by this methodology of cooking and saving money on groceries, please be sure to grab my free guide to cutting your grocery cost. It's going to go in depth on some of the very things that I'm showing you in this video. It's free. I'm going to make sure that there is a link in the video description. All right, what would you pay retail for this at Walmart? And that's including the squash being a little more expensive at Walmart than I paid at the farmer's market. It's going to be $39.77, just a smidge shy of $40. By the time you add tax, it's going to be pretty much $40 even walking out the door. But the most important question on everybody's mind, what am I going to make with all this stuff? I created a menu plan. Now, yes, I have had to add just a few little things extra from the pantry in order to round it out and create the actual recipes. But once I add those things, you're still looking at about $50 for at least 1 week's worth of lunches and dinners for a family of 3 to 4. Here's that menu plan. I'm going to scroll down it nice and slow so you can see every single thing that I'm making. I'm making a lot of main dishes. I'm also making some salads and side dishes, some soups, and a little bit of extra things. And you'll see I even managed to get one little teeny tiny dessert in there because Larry, who is behind the camera, loves his desserts, and that's super important to him. Am I right, Larry?
Love desserts.
If you'd like to watch another video where I walk through this process and show you brand new examples of how to cook for your family and not spend very much money doing it, there's another video. And it is, yes, it's right over there. Go watch it next. All right, back to the cabbage. It's not cabbage.